Hey guys, Gen3D Tech here. Today we're going to be checking out a new mouse pad from G-Wolves. It's a tiny little mouse pad, but very high quality, especially for the price. And hopefully we'll be seeing a bigger version of this pad because I think after you see this review, you'll find that it's a pretty interesting pad. So without further ado, let's get into it. Anyways, I've had this pad for over a month, and I saw it on Twitter, and I thought, wow, G-Wolves, I didn't even know they made mouse pads. And it was available on Amazon, and it was only $12.90. And as you can see, it's a tiny little mouse pad. It's actually only 320 by 250 millimeters, and it's 4 millimeters thick. And to show it off in the video, I'm using a little HK Plus that I haven't done a review on, but I will soon. This is a fingertip only mouse, unless you've got teeny tiny hands. And at the time that I purchased it, it was $12.90. Currently, it's on sale for $9.90, which is a really good deal for this little pad. And at this size, for most people, this pad is going to be way too small. However, it's probably perfect for a little fingertip mouse like this, which is maybe what they intended for it. I'm not sure. Or maybe they just don't use mouse pads. I don't know. But most people don't use mouse pads this size anymore. Maybe for work, this would be okay. But, G-Wolves is a gamer company, and they typically market to gamers. So I'm not exactly sure what they were thinking. It might have just been that they wanted to try making a mouse pad, and they just wanted to see people's reaction. So far, the reaction has been pretty pleasant. Other than the size, people are not happy with the size. I'm not happy with the size, and they've made it clear that they're willing to make larger pads, and they asked us what size that we wanted, and I think most people are asking for 500 by 500 or the Artisan sizes, but I don't know if there's any confirmation on what exact size that they will come out with this on this pad. So I'm going to look at this as kind of a preview of what's to come. If you do only like to use a small mouse pad, certainly at $9.90, this is going to be a tremendous value for that. But after I show you all the features of this pad, even with this small size at that price, it's a pretty good value. And if they keep the price down and increase the size of this pad, then I think this pad is going to be a very hot ticket item. So this pad only comes in black currently, and it does have this gold G-Wolves logo right here in the corner, which is only slightly raised on the surface, but it actually feels really nice. I don't think it will actually come off very easily, so I'm not too worried about that. Stitching wise, it's okay. It could definitely be improved, but in the price range that this is coming out on, it's actually really good stitching for a budget pad, because this is what this is at $13 that I paid for it, and then definitely at $10 that it's going for right now. This is actually pretty good stitching. But if they may do the larger one, I'm okay with it if they keep it this quality, because it's above average, but it's not Artisan level. I'll show you some Artisan pads to compare this with here in a minute, and you'll see what I mean. But it's fine for a budget pad. It's nothing to complain about, that's for sure. Now, and here's a close-up of the surface. And this is a cloth pad. It has a really nice surface, and it's comparable to the Artisan Zero and actually the X10 cloth pad, which is a very expensive pad. So if they can get this in a large size to compete with that pad, that's going to be a tremendous value. And now the base is what's really cool about this. Now they call this a pour-on base, and that's not exactly what this is. It is similar. This is actually a silicone base, which is kind of a poor man's pour-on base. But I do like this base. It's a lot better than a typical rubber base, and I believe it's cheaper for them to use this base. So, and this is the first pad I've seen with this type of base. So, I definitely would like to see this in more pads. So, if any other mouse pad manufacturers are watching this video, you should get this pad and check this out, because if you're trying to save money and you want to use that rubber base that almost everyone uses, try this one instead. I mean, it does not move on my desk surface whatsoever. Surface wise, it has a good amount of squish to it. I've been told that the foam is pretty much the same foam that's in an Artisan Zero Soft. and that does feel like it to me. Again, we're talking about a budget pad here, and it has a lot of the same features other than the amazing stitching that an Artisan pad has. But again, it is very small. But if you doubled the size of this pad and it's still $20, that would be amazing. Triple the size of the pad and $30, again, still amazing and still cheaper than any Artisan pad. And again, I'm also okay if they don't vastly improve the stitching. I'd like to see it improve a little bit, but I'd be okay because I'm not a stitching Nazi, basically. So here's an Artisan Zero. I'd like to thank Lethal Gaming Gear for providing this to me, and I'll do a separate review on this eventually. I'll probably do it with a couple other pads, but surface wise it's similar. You can see it's a little bit slower though, but some people might actually like that. So if you find the Artisan Zero is a little fast for you, then you might like the AirOne pad. And here I'll show you the comparison of the stitching. So right there you got Artisan stitching quality, and then the pad is raised above the stitching, so there's no resistance when you go over the top, whereas there is resistance here. And on a smaller pad, that's, you know, you're definitely going to hit that. And then here's the base. This is the Artisan base, and this is the G-Wolves base. And this definitely is a nicer base, but again, this is a much more expensive pad. I believe this is a $60 pad, if I recall right. It's at least $50, but I think it's $60. So for, you know, a $10 pad, that's pretty amazing. All right, and this is the X10 pad. This is a $100 pad, by the way. It has no stitching, but the surface is pretty incredible, and the base is also amazing. Here's the comparison of the base, and close up of the two surfaces. Speed wise, like the Zero, the X10 pad is just a hair faster, but they're pretty close, and the surfaces feel similar. But again, this is a $100 pad, also provided by Lethal Gaming Gear. Thank you for that, and I'll try and do a review on this soon. And again, this pad, $10. It was, like I said, it was really $13, and they reduced it $3. So if you want it, you can get it on Amazon. If you're just a wrist aimer or a fingertip aimer who just moves their hand like this will probably work for you, and it's a tremendous surface, so that's a super good value for if you only need a small pad. So again, humidity wise, my environment and the amount that I sweat are not very good tests for this thing. So we'll just do the water test, which is an extreme humidity test, really. Now the weave is pretty tight on this, and as you can see, it doesn't. So as you can see, the water didn't absorb terribly fast into this cloth pad. So it does have a little bit of water resistance, and as far as how it affects the surface, I barely noticed it. So I think if you're just getting a little bit of sweat, or it's a little bit humid in there in your home, I don't think that this pad is going to be terribly affected by humidity. Long-term wise, I can't say. Will it help break down the pad? Not really sure. I do know using PTFE feet, your pad will last longer than, say, you use glass feet, but it also depends on how hard you press. I personally don't really press hard into my pads, so it's typically not an issue. None of my pads have ever broken down, but there's some people who can break down a pad in just a couple days. It depends on your play style. Now, who would I recommend this to? If you're a wrist aimer, you have a small mouse like this, this would probably be perfect for that. If you're someone who does large sweeping movements, this is going to be too short for you, for sure. However, definitely keep an eye on Twitter and for announcements on a larger version of this pad. and I will do another review of this pad if I can get a larger version of it. It sounds like they plan on making one. I haven't seen an official announcement and of what that size would be or how much it'll cost. But if they can get the size, say 500 by 500 or Artisan size, or even 450 by 400 would be nice, and they can keep that price under $30, then this pad is going to be an amazing value because it totally competes, in my opinion, with the Zero and the X10 pad as far as surface wise. Gameplay, I performed really well on this pad. Just like those pads, I had a hard time telling the difference in game, other than, like I said, it's just a hair slower, but honestly that works for me. But if you like a faster pad, and it also depends on the game you're playing, honestly. I mean, for certain games you want a faster pad, and then this may not work for those type of games, but for like tac shooters, this is a perfect pad. Or if you just have someone who has shaky aim, for sure this is a great pad. Now the size of this almost makes this a meme pad, and I know a lot of people didn't really take this seriously, especially at the price, but I was very surprised when I got this pad how good the base is and how good the surface is, and how decent the stitching is. I mean, even this little logo, that's not exactly the cheapest thing to put on, because not very many people use like a foil logo like that on their pad. Now some people might not like that, but I have no problem with it, and it doesn't seem to really, you can kind of feel it, but if the pad's big enough, it's not going to be as big a deal. It's a bigger deal on this pad because it's smaller, but for the most part, if we get the big pad that everyone's going to want, it's not going to be a big deal. I think it looks nice and classy. I'm just very curious that they launched with such a small pad. But G-Wolves does some stuff that's like our head scratchers. I have a hard time understanding a lot of their reasoning. They're just kind of G-Wolves, and if you know G-Wolves, you know what I mean. But they do seem to listen to the community and eventually get things right. They saw that there was a positive reaction to the surface itself, to that people actually bought it. Everyone else kind of laughed at this thing, and I bought it for the meme, honestly. Much like the IKEA pad, I bought it as a meme, but like the IKEA pad, I was also very surprised. So sometimes it's worthwhile checking out these cheap products because you can find a diamond in the rough, which this is what this is. I totally was not expecting a pad this quality for this price, even though it is this small. So again, you get a larger version of this pad, and I promise you everyone's going to be talking about this pad. This is a nice pad. It's nothing groundbreaking other than the silicone base, and I'd like to see this take off on most pads and get rid of that the smelly rubber base that's got the texture to it that almost every pad uses. For one, it smells bad. There's no bad smell to this, and it works really well. Now, I've only tested this out on my desk and it doesn't move, but as far as I know, this base is a pretty good base, and again, I think it's a really good cheaper alternative to a pour-on base. The base is what confused me the most, because it didn't look like a pour-on base. It looks similar, but I talked to some of the people that are in the mousepad industry, and they looked into this base, and they're the ones that told me it's a silicone base. While it's better than the typical rubber base, it's a cheaper alternative. So again, it's a poor man's pour-on base. So like I said, there's a lot of cool stuff here. There's a surface that's similar to a beloved surface in the Zero and the X10, and you got a cool base. Anyways, guys, that's about all I have for this review. Hopefully you enjoyed it and found it informative. If you did, please leave a like. That always helps. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I always appreciate a sub. If not, no big deal. I'll do these videos no matter what. I do these videos because I love to, not because I'm trying to make money off of it. I make a living as an IT person, and I don't really make any money doing this. I have made a little bit of money, but I've spent thousands of dollars producing these videos and buying products to create content. And I am starting to get a bunch of things for free to produce content now, but you know, when you're starting out, you gotta pay to be able to play, and that's what I've had to do. And actually, I actually bought this with my Amazon affiliate money. I've made just a tad. I think I made like $40 something. So I use this, and this is the first item that I've bought using the Amazon affiliate money that I've made off the channel. And again, I put it right back into the channel. I think I bought something else too, but everything I make, I'm trying to put back in here to get this channel to grow. I'm not trying to make money off of this thing. If I could, I love doing this, and if I could make a living doing it, I would, but I'm not anywhere near there. So for right now, I'm doing this because I love it, and hopefully you're enjoying these videos too. I especially finding little gems like this and bringing it to you guys' attention, because it is going under the radar. I mean, that's probably why it's on sale. But if we get this in a larger size, I promise you this is going to be a very popular pad. So reach out to G Wolves on Twitter and tell them that you want this in a bigger pad. Pretty sure they're already making it, but let's go ahead and tell them so we know that that happens for sure. You give them a little gentle encouragement, as I like to say. Anyways, again, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.